Okay. Wow. See a lot of people there, like 44 participants. So no pressure, no pressure. But anyways, like Anne said, here in Texas, in Austin, and it's so hot. I mean, it's like 100. Yesterday, it was like 104 degrees. It felt like 104 degrees. So I wish I was there with you guys. I'm sure it's not that hot like here. Well, I'm really excited to be here to share my experiences working with students with deaf blindness. I'm not an expert. I'm just a teacher. So I think that I have to, say that now because I'm not like an expert presenter and all that. And I still have, I'm still learning. Well, I know a little bit now after we had the Zoom lessons that we had with COVID, that, to go back and forth and share the screen and this and that. But, that was maybe several months ago. So I, bear with me if I get kind of messed up on all this technology. So I am an orientation and mobility, certified orientation and mobility specialist, and I work at the School for the Blind here in Austin for about, I'm kind of, let's see, 32 years I've worked at the school. And I know that because I was pregnant when I started there with my twin boys. So I've been working, they're 32 now. So I've been working that long. Before that, I worked with adults at the Chris Cole Rehabilitation Center. And I worked there for about 7 years. So I've been doing this O&M stuff for close to 40 years. And I love it. I just love my job because it's always moving, always a lot of challenges, a lot of things. I don't know everything. Gosh, when I die, I will, still not know everything. And so sometimes you might have questions that I'm not be able to answer, but I think the more we think about it and brainstorm and learn from our students, they're the best teachers for us. Like what works with one student might not work with another student. And so you put that in a little bag. And then, you think about, oh, I tried this with this student or that with that student. And that's how you learn. I don't have the answers for everything. And so that's just a disclaimer. What we're going to talk about, it's about how we can incorporate O&M. What is O&M? I'm sure that most of you know what orientation and mobility is. We'll go over a little bit of that. I have a lot of videos to show you of not a lot of students, but a couple of students. And one of them specifically, his name is Orion. And I understand that Anne was saying that Orion's mom did a presentation for you guys at some time before. So you would know Orion, recognize him, or if you've seen him before. And Orion, I met him when he was 2 years old. And now, gosh, I believe he's like 11 or 12. He's getting up there. So I worked with him at home when he was little. And then, he came to our school and so on. Orion is deafblind. He has no vision, no hearing. He did have cochlear implant, but he never really was successful, using it. He hated it. He didn't like it. So I'll just showing you a little bit of background before. So when you see him, I also have another student, Luciana, and Luciana is also deafblind. She had vision before, but she lost her vision from retinal detachment. And she has one implant, a cochlear implant, and then a hearing aid on the other side. So she has no vision, but she does get a lot of information, through her hearing. she does not, speak per se. She makes sounds, she makes intonations, humming and things like that. Her mom is, she is also from Venezuela, so they use a lot of Spanish at home. I happen to know Spanish also, so some of my interactions with her that you'll see in the video are, in Spanish and English, a little bit of both. I do have those videos captioned and also described for what's happening. Okay, so let's see what else I could tell you about me. Oh, well, I was born in South America, in Chile, and I came to the States when I was about 21 to get my master's degree in orientation and mobility from Boston College. And then they offered me a job. Oh, no, I'm sorry, back up. Then they sent me to do my internship in Austin. And then there they offered me a job. And then I met my husband and we had children and so forth. So I've been here that long. That's why I know Spanish a little bit. I do know a lot of Spanish. Okay. I'm going to start showing a little bit of the PowerPoint. I might go back and forth from the PowerPoint to the videos. If you have questions, I know that the rules have said, like, you put it in the chat, but sometimes I'm not like looking at the chat a lot. So I don't know if, I might even prefer if there's a question that I get. And what do you think if they raise their hand? I know they have the little hand, like they can have a question. I would like to be like more interactive with the participants, because sometimes if you hold the questions for later, we might forget, or if you're asking me there in the chat and I'm not seeing the question. I don't know. What do you think, Anne?
This is Anne, and I think that depends if you feel like you would have enough time for people turning on their cameras and having a chat with you, that would be fine. I just want to be careful that if one person has a question, it doesn't take too much of your time so that you still have enough time to finish your presentation. But if that's a preference, what I can do is I can turn on my sound and just say there's a question in the chat if you would like me to do that. Otherwise, if you want to ask people to turn on their cameras if they are asking questions, and if you want to keep your screen on gallery so that you can see when people turn them on, that'd be great. Right now in Zoom, if you click the raise hand feature, it shifts all the squares around, which can be kind of annoying for those of us who are deaf, even when there's a spotlight. So what do you prefer? I think it's your preference, and also meeting the needs of what you need for engagement, but making sure you have enough time to complete all of the information that you want to share with us.
Okay, well, that leaves me in the same spot. No, just kidding. Okay, so let's do the chat, and if you can prompt me, and when there's a question, I would like read the question maybe and then answer. I really like questions, even if it takes time from my presentation. Sometimes, we could guide the presentation for the questions, and I know that it's so hard to be in Zoom because I really like to have that feedback, from you guys, and to make this something that is really gonna help you all on what you need, because I could talk about what I want to talk all day long, but the purpose of trainings is to learn something that you can use, tomorrow, right?
Yeah, that's exactly it. So like I said, I think the presenter can set the tone, just keeping in mind that we want to make sure we can move through information, because I know there's different loading styles that we have in here. Some people really like to check all the boxes and get through every slide. Other people like that, that give and take in the conversation. But ultimately, you can make that decision. And like you said, we have over 40 people here. So we want to make sure that we get as many needs met as possible. So why don't you go ahead and just start and then just see how it feels. If you want to pause and say, are there any questions? And then people turn on their cameras, that would be fine. Yeah, thank you.
Okay. All right. So I'm going to start with the PowerPoint. I was thinking about just showing you some videos first, but we'll start with the PowerPoint and then I'll switch to some videos. So here we go. Let's see if I can get my sharing system here. Okay. And I'm going to take this little floating thing. All right. And I'm going to start from the beginning, from the PowerPoint. Now, if I'm talking about something that I'm showing, because I don't know if you guys are seeing it, so and if you don't mind, just give me a like, oh, we don't see this, what what you're talking about. So right now we should have the PowerPoint on the share screen, and I'm going to start from the beginning. And if I don't hear anything like, oh, I don't see anything, I will go on from here.
And this is Ann Carolina. Just to let you know, we have a mix of people who are not certified orientation and mobility specialists, the teachers of deaf, hard of hearing, teachers of blind, visually impaired. So it's quite a mix that we have here. Okay, good. Thank you for that comment. Thank you. All right, so this is, I hope that you're at the right place here, is orientation and mobility for students who are deaf blind. Hold on, my floating thing came back. I don't know why. Okay. Boom. All right, these are the objectives of the presentation. We'll be discuss the importance of teaching orientation and mobility for students who are deafblind. We will include techniques to assist in orientation and promote independence for students using wheelchairs when traveling indoors and outdoors. We'll have special emphasis to the team members, like, to carry and implement best practice for children using wheelchairs who have a variety of vision and hearing loss. So those are the objectives of this training. So what is orientation and mobility? Like, Anne said, maybe some people are not sure what it is. O&M, we call it for short. O&M instruction provides students who are deafblind, and of course, students that just have visual impairment, right? With a set of foundation skills to use their residual, auditory, and sensory information to understand their environment. And, it's like a big job, to try to make sense of all these things that are out there to help the child to make sense of their environment. O&M instruction provides opportunities and skills that can broaden the students' awareness of their environment, resulting in increased motivation, independence, and safety. Okay, so we don't, O&M specialists, we don't have a magic wand, right? You're like, oh, now you will understand all this. We have to, provide opportunities, for the students to learn the skills and to connect, with the environment. If the student knows what's out there, that, it might motivate him, then he might want to go and get that, in terms of I mean, using your arm in front of you to get something, that you're already connected with the environment. And then you have all that concept. Where is that object? Is it in front of me, behind me, and all that important orientation? You might see in a lot of reports or things that there's COMS, and this is just what it means, Certified Orientation and Mobility Specialist. You have to get your certification from, you have to go to school to learn to be a Certified Orientation Mobility Specialist. There's universities that have programs for that. It might last, a 4-year, could be undergraduate, or it might be like master's degree, right?
do we have prerequisites for O&M? And there is no prerequisites. And this is, something that we have to really keep in mind, okay? Just because a student doesn't do something, that doesn't mean that, oh, they don't need O&M. Because students don't walk, that doesn't mean, oh, well, there's nothing I can do. You need to be walking for O&M. Totally wrong. If they don't do something, it's because they need help learning how to do that. Okay. Obviously, if a student is in a wheelchair because they're wheelchair bound, we're not going to make them walk, but how we can, bring them to the environment that they can explore. Best practice. And this is not a law, but it's best practice. And actually in Texas, I think there's some kind of a requirement that they have, and I'm not sure what requirements you have in your state, but here in Texas, it says in paperwork and stuff that every student who has a visual impairment, and I said visual impairment, it didn't say like the deafblind students already have a visual impairment, right? So every student who has a visual impairment should have an O&M evaluation done by COMS to determine the student's strength and areas of needs. And that's so specific, it's strength and areas of, now this is not written the way that is written on the paperwork. This is what, I kind of compile on my best practice. So when it says strength and areas of needs, so you have to look at the student, what they can do and what they need to learn. When I do an assessment and eval, I don't look like all the things they can't do. Well, that's easy, right? Oh, they can't do this, they can't do that. But mainly I want to focus on the strength, because from those strengths, I could develop the other skills that the student needs, right? The orientation of mobility, the O&M evaluation will guide the student's individual program to develop the skills necessary for safe and independent travel in any setting with or without assistance. Okay. Now, when you say, well, you might have a student that is not going to be ever independent, but I challenge that, because independence, that doesn't mean that you're going to get in a car and go. It means that you can yourself do something by yourself, by your own power, right? And it could be that I could take the brakes off of the wheelchair, that I could reach and get my cup and get it, that I could, point to where I want to go. That's independence, right? O&M is everything. Everything is related to O&M. I've done a couple of training for staff and other people throughout the years. And I always said, I have $20 here in my hand, and I would give it to whoever tells me, I'm talking about O&M, right? Whoever can tell me something that is not O&M related. And so far, I still have the $20 in my pocket, because everything that you do throughout the day for any of us is related for O&M. For any student is related for O&M. When they get dressed, when they get up in the morning, when they eat, to know what's on the plate, when they reach for a toy, that's orientation to the environment, to know where things are, to get it, to even by looking around, you're relating, by seeing things. Oh, that's far, that's close to me. Oh, I hear something on the sound. Everything. Actually, even sleeping is related to O&M, because you have to know where the bed is. You have to know how you lay on the pillow and not at the other end of the bed. So everything is related to O&M. It's orientation and mobility. Orientation is like, where am I? Where do I want to go? And how am I going to get there, right? But we want to make sure that we do this safely and independently at that level of the student. Okay, so every student could have at their level to be safe and independent traveler. With or without assistant. Yeah, maybe they need a guide technique. Maybe they need, like to help a little touch and to point to where they need to turn anyway. Now, I would not be able to do any, I would not be able to see any progress on the students that I work with without a team. And that's the multidisciplinary team. 90% of the success of my students depends on that team, because I only see the student once a week or twice a week, if I like it, 3 times a week, sometimes once a month, right? So if I don't communicate with the team and the team doesn't communicate with me on what they do and how they do and what they need help with, my student's not going to learn anything. But the team, the multidisciplinary team, will ensure the O&M skills are included in the student's daily program. And that's so easy because everything is O&M, right? Like I said, when they washing their face, when they're brushing their teeth, you need to know, okay, body parts, that's O&M. Know where your teeth are, where your mouth is, when you're eating, how you open your mouth, you move in your mouth to reach for that. So that's kind of like a good connection, right? Because everything that this child is going to do throughout the day is related to O&M. So another important thing about the team, I'm not, especially with students with wheelchairs or walkers, or, they have a lot of motor issues. I would not even touch a student until I'm very connected or understand everything about that student's physical therapy. So the PT specialist, the physical therapist, it will let me know the things that the student can or cannot do motorically, right? Because I'm obviously not going to try to stand a student if they can't, right? Or how to move him. It's very, very important to have that sort of clearance or understanding how to transfer a student from the wheelchair to the chair or back, if they can stand or reach and all those kind of things. So that's a critical part of the team. So again, the team, that due to the complexity of needs of students who are deafblind, you have to have constant input from the group, okay, from this team that we have, and that needs to guide the programming and the routines and functional activity. So it's not like, oh, today we're going to, work on your moving your arm up and down, up and down. Well, obviously that's not functional activity. It's so important to have the functional part of it, of that, what we want the student to achieve on the skill. And I put also routines because you have to be consistent. You have to do it the same way every day. Of course, we're all different people. I might do it a little bit different because of my personality or this or that, but the routine, how the child is going to enter the classroom, what is the first thing they're going to do? Are they going to find their calendar? Then where they're going to go for the next activity and so forth. That's that routine. And the activities have to be functional, that makes sense. They're motivating the student. So the function of the team, the core team, is to review, refine, and direct ongoing programming for the student, which includes, those who work with them weekly, daily, that interact with the student. The main one, the parents need to know exactly what we do it, because, they could also give us so much information. Right? Oh, well, they already knew that. Oh, yeah, they can do this or no. Oh, I would like for them to do that. So all the things that they could be so important of the team. I had a parent one time say, I was like, what would you like your son or daughter to, to be able to do, like, for like O&M or anything that, and she's like, I would really like to be able to go to a restaurant and that he will sit there and eat dinner with us. I was like, oh, well, we need to go to restaurants and practice that. Just kidding. But those are simple things that sometimes we don't think about it. And now how can we, go for that goal? Because all of us as families, we like to go out and have, but a lot of times the kids is like, oh, they're bored, oh, there's too much noise, or there's, they don't like to eat the food, or so how we can, help that parent to achieve that goal that is important for the family. I'm kind of going sidetracked, but anyway, so all the other parts of the people all the other people that are part of the team, the intervener, the classroom teacher. So that's the core team, and then the teacher of the students of the blindness, teacher of students with visual impairment, and they, it depends on how much time you have. You might meet, weekly, bi-weekly, monthly, quarterly, based on the students' needs, and also like, what the team have access to for meetings. Sometimes we have too many meetings, so they have to decide when they meet, obviously. Now, I'm part of the extended team. If you can see on the next line, the team may meet with other expertise like PT, OT. I see a little thing. Yes, love the person-centered focus. Yes, I was reading the little chat. This floating thing came back here. Oh. Okay. Yes, thank you for that comment. They have to be part of the, now, so you got this team and you have, you're all kind of on the same page. I'm going to concentrate a little bit now on what the O&M part is. Okay, so, but the whole team needs to gather information about the student in order to say, okay, what are we going to work with? What are the strengths and needs of the student? Okay. So here we go. And this is what's going to guide not only your assessment of the student, like if I have to, do an evaluation of the student, but also the things that I have to that I want to teach, and this is what the O&M person especially is going to be looking at and getting information from the team and about all these things that the student might be able to do or needs to do. So I'm going to go and observe, in different environments at different times with different people. I'm going to interview with parents. And I didn't put that in there. Obviously, I'm going to interview the teachers, the interveners, the PT, the OT, all the people that are part of the core team, that we need to work together. And how am I going to do this? And it's really important to do it in different times and different days, because a lot of the students have, like we all do, good days and bad days. Sometimes they're overwhelmed, sometimes they're sick, sometimes they're, when they're happy. But I also want to see how they react when they're having all those issues going on, or what makes them happy, or to motivate them. I'm going to be looking at how they attend to the environment. Okay, so obviously, like what kind of stimulus in the environment they can attend to. Now, if you have a student that has some hearing, residual hearing, when they hear somebody talking, do they turn their head or they smile if they hear that voice that reminds them or that they know mom is here, or they can, listen to the different, turn to a voice or a sound. It could be like maybe they're playing music on one side, at the end of the hallway, and they can, pay attention to that. So sometimes they do show like little, subtle ways, that they do. It's not like, oh, you hear something on the right and then they're gonna, turn their head right away. So it might take time, like how fast they react to those things. It's not, it might, they hear it, but their processing time might be a little bit slower, right? So they might like take a little longer for them to react. Oh, there's somebody there, or there's a sound there. And by them turning to one side or the other, not only you can tell, oh, they can hear, on the right, but not so much on the left, or in front, or if it's behind, do they start turning your head? Or so just by a little bit of sound or something that motivates them to turn towards that. That's important, because when you're moving in space, you can have that connection with the sounds that, oh, I hear the microwave. Oh, I know that, we're going towards the kitchen. Even if I don't have vision, if I hear that sound far away, that I can tell, that I recognize that's, and oh, I know I'm going to be, that's the way to the kitchen. If they have some vision, do they attend? Do they look at things? Do they reach for an object? Or even if they don't reach, do they kind of follow with their eyes? Do they scan? Do they visually scan or reach and point to an object? I can't stress enough the power of pointing. And sometimes we forget, and I learned this, and not always, that we can teach students to point, and that's a very powerful tool, and if they have the movement of the hand, it's like, oh, and I know the microwave that I was talking, because I have a microwave for that that is to my right, I can guide and help the student and like point, there is the microwave, like this is the student hand, and then I could put my hand underneath them, and then like we're pointing to where it is, not only just pointing with one finger, but you can point with your whole hand, with the elbow, if they're able to point with the elbow, in different ways. I mean, that's why you have to look at what are the strengths of the student, that you can, expand to what we want them to learn from the environment. Can they pay attention to tactile information? Could they explore objects? Like if a student have, some object with them, like, can they like put in one hand on the other? Can they like really pay attention to the little details of the object? I don't even know what I have here, but it was on my table that, like, does it have the different texture inside or outside? That's really important to know, because that tells me, oh, they like to touch things. So maybe they can touch the wall, or maybe, they can find landmarks out there. So do they pay attention to things that they touch with their hands? We have also students that, they don't want to touch anything. They don't want to, like, well, like very defensive, tactfully defensive. And I think, I will say 80% of the time is our fault, because maybe we put too many things in their hands, and they're like, you know what? I don't even know what you're giving me, so I'm not going to touch anything, and sometimes they do have that, like, oh, they don't like gooey things. Oh, I don't like gooey things either. But tactile information is so important, especially for a child that is completely deaf and blind, but also for other kids that they have, the residual vision or the residual hearing, that they can, also feel what things are around them, right? That's going to give information about the environment. Okay, let's see. Auditory abilities, obviously we're talking about students that they have a residual, auditory abilities, and how they're using that information for that orientation. Like I was explaining before, like how sounds are around you, that they can help you where things are, can they detect or notice, like, oh, somebody is really quiet, and then somebody starts crying over there, like, do they like kind of startle, even if they don't know what it is, they notice there's a sound. Can they discriminate, like, can you tell apart, separate that person that was talking to what is the music over here. So you discriminate two things, one between the other. And how do I know that? Because, maybe there was a person talking and they were looking at them, or something was happening in one area, and then they shut the door over here, and the noise of the door kind of like, oh, they can tell the two sounds different, or react to those two different sounds. Can they identify or recognize the sound? And how do I know they recognize? If they have a preferred person, and that person is coming in and start talking to them, and they smile, oh, there's and my favorite teacher, or there's mom, I hear mom's song, voice. Or if they prefer music, right? Like how, I prefer certain songs, and or certain things that I like, or some toys that make some little sounds. So you have to do a lot of, and be paying really attention on how they're reacting to the different sounds. I know the little girl that I work with, Luciana, she is very particular about, some of the songs that she likes. And hold on, there's something on my screen. I'm gonna try to, oh, well, maybe it'll just go away. Oh yeah, there we go. Yeah, Luciana. So if I play a song that she doesn't like, and it's not like she understands, I think she doesn't understand all the song, but is the music, the tone, like the wheels on the bus, and she loves that. But if I play, for example, London Bridges falling, she's like, ah, and she's like, nah, she'll like pound on the table. That's not my song. So I know, oh, they can recognize that she doesn't speak, but she is able to, she loves the different tones and things of the music. Do attentive environmental sounds. We talk about, things that are happening, people walking, or like, if you go outside, like, if they can hear cars, or they can hear birds. I mean, I've had students that, oh, what is that? They can hear like the water fountain, or other things. To attend the speech, obviously. Can they localize stationary sounds? And that's really important for O&M, because if there's that microwave that is going on, which is not a landmark, it's a clue, because it's going to stop. It's not there all the time. But if I want to go to get, that food from the microwave, can they know where that is? Oh, it's to my right. Even though they're not going to say it's to my right, but it's like over there. Can they turn their head towards that? Or they can, like, even like on their eyes, like looking with their eyes, if they can't turn their head. Can they point? I want that. A lot of kids, oh, I want that. If they can reach and grab you, they can point. So I'm gonna have that hand that they can, grab you, because they're reaching for you, not, then I'm gonna guide that hand to, oh, that's where we're going. The same thing if they can try, moving sound. A lot of the, I don't know, but I have a lot of the deafblind students that I work with, they have a lot of residual auditory and a lot of visual, like some of them maybe have a little bit on the side, like a tunnel vision, or might see a little blurry, any of that, or the little hearing on one side or the other. That is so important to know exactly what information they're getting. And so how will you know that? By doing activities, by observing, by that they providing experiences that you might understand, like, this is how they see, this is how they hear, and how can I use that strength to teach him about the world? How can I help them to understand what's around them? And receptive language, we have awareness of simple directions through movement. Okay, right. They might say, like when you open something. So you're using your hand, like gestures. You open, like, and this is the sign language, right? For open, or then you're gonna close, or you're gonna open the door. You're gonna close the door, or you're gonna stop. Oh, we're gonna stop, or we're gonna go. Do I understand what I'm saying? Because of the movement that I'm doing. Okay, so the words and all that is just a label. But do you understand what I'm doing by moving? Okay, we're gonna go. So we're moving forward. Oh, we're gonna go, reach for the cup is up there, is up, or we drop something on the floor is down. So you see how you have the different movements that are connected to a word. I mean, somebody could have said, okay, if you put your arm up, we're going to say, oh, that's yellow. Okay. That is just the word, right? But it's more important what the movement that you do, not the label. Right. At the end, you do want to learn the label. That's what it means when I say, if I say up, you need to do this movement. But at first, you have to have that awareness of the directions that you're doing with the movement. And even if they can't do the arms, if they're in a wheelchair, we're going to turn to the left. We're going to turn to the right. We're going to go. And so we're going forward. Oh, we're going to stop. We're not more moving. Okay. All right, let's see what else we got here and this. And we also like not only what they receive, right? I'm sorry, not only what they understand, but also how they express, right? Their expressive language. Why it's important that because then they can tell me yes or no in certain ways, right? If I say, oh, are we going? We're going to go straight. Are we going? Yes. And it's like, yeah, we're going straight. You can clap. Yes. Whatever they do to express that language is important for me to use that for orientation. Okay. Do they respond to questions using signs or gesture, or pointing, or pictures, or even pushing away? That's an expression, right? Like, no, I don't want to do that, right? Now, I could have a student like, and making choices. What's the next? Yes, no, what, who, or where, by making choices if they understand pictures, right? Like you want to make a choice, like you want to go to the playground, or you want to go to the, well, that's too different, but if you want to go to the playground, or you want to go to we have a mat room where it's indoors, so we call it the mat room. You want to go to the playground, you want to go to the mat room where they have swings and all that kind of stuff. So I could give the symbols, the pictures, we can even do the movement, we can go outside. Outside, we have a little rocking thing that we use, or you can go to, the swing inside. So do they have choices with the objects? You can make an object like, okay, the playground might be part of the playground. Like we have this kind of like tires that they chopped up on the floor, on the ground, like, so we pick up some of that, the texture, we can represent the playground, or, we can go inside the swing that we have in the mat area, and it can have a piece of the rope of the swing, which one do you want to do? Make choices. They need to have the power to decide. I want to do this. I don't want to do that. And by them, giving them those choices, if they grab the rope hanging, even if they don't know at first, right, that they're going there, but you being consistent in the routines and that you're doing this, first they have to learn what are the things that mean, right, to make a choice. But that's like, a whole different presentation. So they can choose who they want to go with, what you want to do, where are we going to go? So right there, you're teaching O&M, like where you want to go, what you want to go, swing, you're going to have to find the swing, or you want to go outside to find the slide. Anyway, so see how like O&M is related to everything, and I have to know, and actually everybody that works with a child has to know all of these things, right? How to communicate with them, what are the things that they like to do, how they, like they express, when they're happy or not. Obviously smile and not, they're pushing away or they frown or like, shaking their head. So that brings us to laterality, to know left and right. Again, here, to me, left and right is just a label, right? Left and right. More important is that you have the awareness of the one side of the body or the other side of the body. So, and how do I know that? When they reach to the right to locate something, or they reach to the left, or they turn their head to the left or to the right. So right there, we know, okay, they're aware that there's this side over here and there's the other side over there. And okay, that's wonderful, because then we can, when we get to a point in a route or where we go in some place, they can decide, okay, if they learn that route, which way we're going to go, to the right or to the left. We're going to point, we're going to go. If I go in the wrong way, oh no, we went to the wrong way. We have to go the other way. So that's to know different sides of your body, left and right. And we put labels left and right, but the labels are the least important thing. Do they have a preference on their side that they use? They prefer, the left or right side for eating, for when, if they have a spoon, or if they reach for that toy, or they grab it with the right hand or the left hand better. That gives me a little bit of idea of like, if I'm going to use in the future any kind of tool with a student, like a cane, we might know, okay, they prefer the right side, that be the stronger, or they prefer, a dominant side. I might use that tool on the right side. Not that they couldn't use it with the left either, but, usually we start with the cane on the right side if they are right-handed. Then again, here for that's a hard word for me to say. Laterality, if they point the correct way when they're traveling, and that's again the power of point. Let's see, it's one, and you're going to tell me when we take the break, correct? Yes, because it's 1:45. I can't remember.
We'll be taking a break at 1:45.
Okay. So that's it. That's a lot already. We have the spatial awareness of the whole body, when they move their head and the trunk, and what can they do? That's where the PT comes, no, yes, they can bend forward. No, they can't bend forward. Yes, they can straighten their arm. No, and maybe all this time, I didn't know. And this student was just sitting there. I'm thinking, oh, they can't do this. We can't do that. And then here comes the PT and said, yeah, they could do all that stuff, and it might say, oh, be careful, they cannot do this, or can they lift their leg up? Like if they're sitting in a chair, can they lift their leg up or down? Which leg is better? Because even if they can't point with their hand, maybe they can point with their leg. Okay, they can have the leg straight up. Can they move it to one side? Can they move it to the other side? So those are really important things that we have to learn from the student. Body awareness, like if I give them a spoon to somebody and they know that, oh, that's to eat, or if I give them a toothbrush that they know to brush it, or if I give them a hat that they're going to put the hat on, they're going to put the hat on their head, not on their knee, right? So that's how I know if they have, awareness of their body, or they can imitate the movements that I do. All of these things is through imitation and functional use. I'm not going to do a checklist. Can they do this and that? In a functional activities that they can do all these things. Directionality, in and out, and front and back. We all know all these things. And how can I figure that out? Again, with doing an observation and functionality. And so all, whatever the list that we're doing here is just to make you think, because all of these things are so important for O&M, because that's what's going to open their world to be able to use these skills, these motor skills, to have connection with the world. and colors, colors are important for orientation, like, oh, going down the white hallway or the blue hallway, or I see that, we can put landmarks. I can put a red square that we're going to go find that red square. That's where you turn to the left or to the right. Even if they don't know the name of the color, but they can focus and know that, oh, that's what I'm looking for. And
Carolina, feel free to take a break when you feel there's a natural break in your presentation. If you think this is a good time, we can stop here.
yes, and this is perfect, because then this is where we're going to have like some videos that I'm going to show.
Yeah.
So that's perfect timing.
Perfect. All right. I will start sharing my screen for the 15-minute timer. So people can get up, move around. We will pause the recording here, and then we will just want to say we're back to the second half, and you're gonna take us home, and we'll be done at 2:45. Carolina said that she has a lot of videos to share with you, so we're looking forward to seeing how this all looks in practice. Thanks, Carolina.
Okay, great. Thank you. And I'm gonna go straight to videos, because I think I was talking too much and that's kind of boring, But I'm gonna start sharing my screen here. Hopefully this will show this. I want to introduce you to Orion. And Orion, it's in a wheelchair, and not that, I mean, he can stand and do walk with a lot of support, but he decides that, when he wants to walk or not. But most of the time, when we go from one place to another, he's in a wheelchair. In the classroom, he's more mobile. So what I'm going to show you now here, and it doesn't have any talking, so we're just gonna look at it together, without interruption, and then we can I'd explain what he's going to do. One question, and I'm not sure if there's need for describing what's on the video for somebody that's not able to see the video.
Carolina, for this group, no, you don't need to describe anything.
Okay, thank you. I was gonna ask you that before and I forgot, but anyway, so we're gonna see Orion, like he got on the bus and then he's gonna go find the classroom, and I'm teaching him some how to use trailing. That means how to put his hand on a surface that he could follow, and how to reach for things and how to do that. So this was like in 2016. When we were working on this skill, like, yeah, got the date there, all right, on a wheelchair in 2016. Okay, here we go. I'm going to pause there for a second, because I want to rewind this movement that I did, where I'm going to read. I was about to make a little turn right here. And when you're in free air, so to speak, to show that you're going to make a turn, what I use, I bring my hand underneath the student and kind of reach towards the side that we're going to turn. And you can see how, like, so, sometimes if I touch him, he doesn't want, he's like, oh, I don't want to see that. I don't want that, and I can encourage again, to do it. I don't want to really sort of like pester him, so to speak, like, you need to do it, you need to do it. But I do want to, kind of offer, as much as I can. And another thing that I noticed here in this video is like, I'm doing a lot of grabbing. I'm very critical on myself. Like I'm sort of grabbing his wrist to kind of point it and grabbing this and that. And I hate it when I do that. But sometimes we forget. I want to just offer and that he goes for it. And I'm like, okay, look, let me show you this, and I take his hand. But he forgives me. And that kids hate shoes. I have a lot of students that they hate to wear shoes and socks and all of that. So I also want to acknowledge that he was telling me, I want to take my socks off, and I'm not gonna like, okay, you can't take your socks off. He's asking for that. I want to acknowledge, and I'm okay, sure, we can take the socks off. You don't need the socks right now and the shoes. See, he was like, okay, I don't want to touch that. I don't want to see that. I don't want to quit bugging me, and I was like, sometimes when we have videos going on, and you're like, okay, we need to show this and we need to show that. So anyway, sometimes, we have to be really mindful of that moment with the student and what are their feelings or what are they wanting to do or not do, and acknowledge that.
Carolina, you have a question in the chat.
Okay, I can't see the chat right now, but can you read it for me?
I could read it to you. The question is the not wanting to touch the wall sensory related? What if we put a soft, thin glove on him?
Okay, so I think that this sock or glove is gonna completely take away what I'm trying to teach, because I want him to tell the difference on the textures and everything. Now, he doesn't want to, I mean, like, he's learning the skill. Now, if somebody doesn't want to touch the wall at all, then I might think, well, maybe they don't like that texture. Maybe they, there's something, maybe that child's been forced too much to touch the wall. That's why it's so important to like not make it happen, but like offer it. Now, Orion and I have a good relationship, and he knows that these are the skills that we're working on. Well, yeah, no, that's what it's like. Why is this lady making me touch these things? Okay, whatever, and I'll touch it sometimes. And I know that's his strength, that he will touch it sometimes. He doesn't need to touch it all the time. I just want to like, check this out and check that out, because maybe later on he'll really want to stay with it and recognize the different textures. In our school, like on the bottom of the railing, the wooden rail, there's different textures for different hallways. So this is kind of like little, you can't really see in the video, but they're like little, I call it that, in Braille, the A, that just feels like the Braille, the letter A, a bunch of little dots like that you feel like almost like a Braille wall, but it's just A, we call it an A wall. But other parts of the building have like kind of a softer thing on the bottom. So not all the schools have that. It doesn't matter. It's just like you have different textures on the different hallways. But I would really not put anything on their hands, because at this point, Orion or any blind child, their hands are really their eyes, because that's what they're going to be telling the difference of things that they touch. But thank you for asking that.
And then there's one more comment. It says it's awesome to see how natural of a process you make it for O. It's not scripted, it's back and forth with him.
Right. It is really important. Like I said, that it's almost like a dance. You sometimes you do the lead, sometimes you don't lead. Well, I guess in a dance, there's always a leader, but like going together, and I offer this and I offer that, and and sometimes he's really into it, other times he's not. And then I'm going to respect that. See? Okay, so here he's getting frustrated because we're taking too long to get to his classroom. And I'm saying like, soon. There's a marker on the wall, like kind of a rectangle there, and that's his classroom. Right. And so he's almost anticipating that we're going to arrive there. And he's like, oh, come on, lady, just get there. He's telling me all this, but on the other hand, I'm like, but Orion, this is my time with you. This is the time that we're learning this route and learning this thing. Now, the teacher and the teacher aide and all the people that work with Orion, they also going to be doing this same exact routine and the same exact, way that we do it. Right? Sometimes he does better, sometimes he doesn't, but it's the consistency of doing it over and over that he would learn. He will have that sort of mapping. Okay, we go through here and then we do some turn and then I touch this thing and then I touch this other thing and then finally we're going to get there. And he was actually telling me, okay, just get there. And that was his classroom. So I'm going to show you now. This is, 2020. Now, wait, hold on. All right, this is 2020, and I'm in the classroom with Orion. Now he's probably a lot more mobile than some other students that you have, but you might have students like Orion that they're in a wheelchair, but they also could get off the wheelchair and do some movements. He could do a lot of movements, even if he doesn't. PT again is so important for kids like Orion. Like, that's a bolster that we're going to see from PT that we brought to the classroom so he can play. And then he's going to be holding on to me, and then he's going to transfer from there to another part of the classroom. And we'll talk a little bit about classroom setting. Okay, see how he has that relationship between those two objects that are there. Now, the bolster that he was rocking back and forth, that is not there all the time in the classroom. So, you know, for specific play routines or whatever, they will bring that, and the teacher will do this. And I so happened that I arrived and he was already playing there, and I began to interact with them, because when I come in, I'm not like, okay, boom, it's time for O&M, or it's time to go this way or that way, or work with me. I would get engaged with whatever they're doing, so they transition to me, it'd be a lot smoother, and I'm part of, of what they're doing. So he's got the bolster in one hand, and then he knows that other little orange thingy, that's one of his favorite spots there. Now, notice also in the background that we have like this little kind of rubber tiles that you can move around. I mean, there's like, for kids to play in general, they're like little spongy things that you can, put on the floor. That is so important for kids like him to know the difference. Okay, this is the play area, and further back you see a chair, and that's where his desk is. And then on the floor, you also have, we put this little things that I think, it's almost like the things that you put on the bathtub, that so you won't slip off, when you want to have some little grip. It's like you peel the back and then you put it on there. So we made a little path, because Orion doesn't use shoes in the classroom. And if we move with a lot of support, he can walk. And so he can feel all these textures, because your feet are just as important as your hands. And so, even when you have shoes, you can feel some of those different, textures when you walk in, when you feel it, we're on our feet 90% of the time, for those that, people can walk. But if, having the textures on the floor, even if the kids are scooting or rolling or moving, they can have that kind of borders. Okay, this is the play area, the other side, and it's, the calendar, or they have a table there where they do other activities. Well, I don't recommend this particular activity for your students, but you will find ways that you can relate with them when they're playing, whatever movements they can do, whatever things they can do to have that connection. Now you can also look on the background, what I was talking about on the floor, that you can put markings on the floor, for kids that if they have, the ability to walk and feel that the difference, on one side of the classroom or the other side of the classroom. Okay, so we play here for a while, and I'm going to show you another one. Hold on. Okay, so I took Orion to the playground, and sometimes with the smell, sometimes we know that the kids can smell, and smell is so strong. Like, like in our school, we don't wear fragrances, because that could trigger, a lot of the kids' allergies, or even like seizures, or they're so sensitive. But sometimes you can tell when the kids, they smell, when they bring things and they really take it a sniff of it, With Orion, I've never really seen that before. And so he would put things on his mouth and his lip and kind of explore that. But we never really, like food, for example, a lot of kids kind of get their smell first before they even, want to even put it on their lips. So I was always curious to know whether or not Orion really, you know, sort of like pay attention to a smell. And this was the first time that I saw that when I took him, to the playground. This is a bush, a rosemary bush. You know, you can, how delicious this. At least I think the smell is very kind of strong, but it's not like potent. But it's very different from all the smells that you usually have around you. And I have to do a disclaimer. Us, a lot of times the things when happens when you're doing something, you're by yourself with a student. So I pulled out my phone and started doing this video. It was nobody was around to the video, so that's why it kind of is not the best video production. Anyway, you get the idea. He really was paying attention to that, and like actually took my hand, and brought it to his face. So that was like a really cool moment there. And so this gives me information on how he reacts to certain things, and especially the smell that a lot of times we take for granted that it might be there. You also. Okay, so and here we are, in the slide. And when, you might have students that they might not be able to go down the slide, but what I did with Orion, we used to go like with a wheelchair to the slide, and then he would transfer to the slide. This is the great opportunity to how to see if they can move their body down, and this was like, I sat him on the slide and then slowly pushed them up, and then he's holding on to the sides, exploring. And that's Orion's preferred position, to lie down, and and he's like, I'm thinking that he's thinking about what he just did, because he's getting stronger and stronger. He used to not be able to sit up on his own, like that he was sitting there. Now again, the PT and I went over there to the playground, and then we said, okay, can he do this? Can he do that? But he's like, so willing, to do these experiences. Okay, I'm going to show you. This is another student, and she's pretty good, using the wheelchair and the trailing. I don't work with her, but I did see her, one time, she's with a PT. The PT is in the background, and the O&M and the PT, they're working on how, she can use the hand trailing following the wall and her wheelchair by herself. And she's not as mobile as Orion, but so she stays in the wheelchair a lot more than Orion does. So that she's touching on the wall is a little metal part in the corner. That is a landmark. That tells you, like, okay, there's something that's going to happen here. And that is, anticipating the elevator is there. Not that she's going to use the elevator, but that she would tell her that she knows where it is, where she is along the route. So what I'm trying to say is, like, the more experiences that you have, for the students to touch things out there in the environment, the better they're going to understand that there's different things in different places and how I can relate to that. But we have to give them opportunities to do this. Now, Audrey, not sure how long it took her to learn that skill, but whatever time, look at her, how she is, and that they've given her enough time to do it on her own. And Audrey has no vision. She's totally blind, and she has good hearing. I'm not gonna say how much, I don't know how much hearing, that, like I said, she's not my student. I was just happened to see, I'm like, oh my God, this is wonderful. And you see how her foot touched that wall right there. So by the speed that she's going, that little bumper really helped her not to, really bump herself into it, like with her face or anything in the corner. So that's kind of a natural bumper that she already has, in the wheelchair. Now she's supposed to go, there's a door where the window is, further down where the windows are, there's the door. And her job was to trail down the hallway all the way down to locate the exit door, and that was her route that she needed to do by herself. And it's a short little, it's short, but it takes a lot of energy. It takes a lot of, understanding how the environment is there. And she veered from that wall. And she found it. And it's just so wonderful, to see that. Now, fast forward to Orion in last week. This is Orion last week. I'm sorry. This has some sound, and I'm gonna put that there. And here we go. Let's hear it. way.
Wooden rail on the lower wall.
There will be some, I'm sorry. There will be some talking in the video. It's just a description of what's happening. So, you know, if somebody watching the video that was blind or visually impaired, they can hear what they saw. So the interpreter doesn't need to interpret what the description is. Straight, straight, straight. Yeah. Straight. Yeah.
They come to a closed door. As they pass, Carolina guides Orion's hand to the doorknob.
It's close. Door is close.
They come to a hallway intersection.
Corner. Cross. Straight. Cross.
They cross to the opposite wall and turn left to continue.
So I'm gonna speed this up a little bit. We go around the corner because I want to show you. Oh, he's filling the landmark. We're looking at the alignment together. I introduced Orion a cane, and this is the second time that he's going to use a cane. So I want to show you real quick the cane, and then I saw that there was a lot of questions, and maybe we can go into the questions after we finish with this video. I'm going to speed up. And here I offered him, I told him about the hat, and he has to wear a hat outside. And this is what I was talking about. Oh, does it know, like the hat goes in the head?
Carolina helps Orion put a wide-brimmed hat on his head.
When we go outside,
They continue, with Orion sweeping the cane ahead of them.
his seatbelt came off, so I'm kind of helping how to get put the seatbelt back on. So the main reason why I wanted to try the main reason why I wanted to try the cane is for him to just feel things around him too while we're outside, right? Because you had the wall that you go in, and now he was so willing to just, and I'm just having the cane lay there between, you know, the legs resting on the side. And he can feel the vibration with the tip of the cane on how it goes on the ground.
They turn a corner on the sidewalk and continue.
At this time, he's paying more attention to the elastic of the cane, but this is going to be like opening a whole new world for me and Orion to start working on how to use the cane and get information, you know, when we're outside. Inside too, but mostly outside, because he can't really touch a lot of things out there. Now I do.
Some spindly plants, Carolina guides Orion's hand to feel the tip of the plant's fronds.
Okay. So you get the idea of what I want to bring, you know, to the students. What can they get information, you know, from their environment, and we just have to be creative on how to give them that access to the world. So let me see, where do we start the questions? Let's see.
Carolina, I don't see any right now that are in there, but I think there may be some more people are processing and thinking about this. I really enjoyed the videos that you showed when he was younger, and then as he is now, especially since Eva asked the question about, you know, the sensory part, because it was newer for him. I'm gonna spotlight myself really quickly. It was newer for him, or maybe he was still learning about the tactile part, of the walls, and now he seemed a lot more comfortable. So it takes time and it takes progression. I also like the fact that you recorded yourself and then you were modeling some self-analysis, a self-evaluation about what you're doing with him. But then also, I think it could be a really great resource for others to be able to see, and to carry on the work of the orientation and mobility specialist, because, the intervener could benefit. The other related service providers, the classroom teacher could all benefit from seeing how you're guiding him so that he can practice in multiple situations. So that was great.
Yes, and also I was looking at a comment there about recording the O&M specialist could, to share with the team. The videos are so powerful, just like I was showing you there, right? That we do videos all the time. I always have my phone there ready, like to video things that I'm doing with the students. And I might, if I know specific lesson that I wanted, like for Orion for this presentation, I ask somebody, oh, can you come and video, more professional. But that is so powerful to share with the team. I share my videos all the time, like little activities or little things I share with the parent, I share with all the team members, look what Orion did today when we had the smell video. I was like, yeah, that was so awesome. And I share with mom and dad and everyone, every single person that works with Orion, gets my videos. And that's a way to teach, like somebody said, to be consistent on the technique. This is how I do it. This is how we need to do it. So thank you for making that comment, because it's really important to like I said before, 90% of the successes of my students is because the team supports me, right? No, not supports me, it supports the student. We're here for the student. Who cares about me? But that they could really, buy into it, and another thing, I'm not going to ask the team to do something that I can't do with the student. Okay, so if I'm working and practicing, the trailing of the wall, I'm going to first try that. I'm not going to say, oh, try this or try that. No, I'm going to do it first to make sure that it's okay for the student in how she's going to do it and how fast or slow I'm going to go. What am I going to look at together? What I'm, not going to worry about it now. So all that is so important to share with the team.
There's a comment in the chat. Would you like to read it and respond?
Right now.
Eva has a comment. She said, I'm excited to see how much more we can provide to our students to enhance their learning and independence, and how we can train staff for understanding of why we are doing what we are doing. Videos are powerful. Thank you.
Yes. And so if you learn one thing in this presentation that you can use tomorrow, then it's all worth it. I mean, sometimes we have too much information, but like one thing that you could try with your student tomorrow, or one thing that you could ask another team member to help you do that, then I think it's, your time was well spent, listening to me or something. So I always do that when I go to a place and training, like, what can I use tomorrow? If I can use one thing, then it's all worth it, the training for that topic.
I just have one more question for you, Carolina. And do you work with students who have maybe cortical visual impairment? So they may not be blind per se, with their eyes, but they're struggling to understand what the environment is like. And so maybe some of these strategies could also be used with them, because we have a good number of students here in Minnesota that have CVI, and CVI, cortical visual impairment, and then also, have a hearing loss, so they're deaf-blind.
Right. Well, CVI is a visual impairment, right? So therefore, I think I haven't had, like, in my caseload, somebody that doesn't have a visual impairment.
Mhm.
Okay, but that doesn't mean that all these techniques you couldn't use, right? Like you're saying, with students that are maybe, not processing, the information. Like, what can I give them to pay attention to this part of the travel? Or, if there's going to be steps and then I have no idea, well, maybe even though they're not blind or visually impaired, but if that cane could help, I need to pay attention. There's a change here, something different. And then oh my gosh, there's a step. So I think that, like I said, O&M is in every single way that you can, include O&M. So you just have to ask the O&M, specialists in your area, say, hey, can you give us some tips on how to support, the students?
Mhm. Yeah, that's a really good point. Yeah, it's just it's interesting to see the diversity of students that you can provide orientation and mobility. And if they're not necessarily able to wheel the wheelchair themselves, they still have that need for orientation where they are in space. So I think the examples that you gave us were really helpful for getting ideas of how we can better support our students with deaf blindness.
Yes, and I can't stress enough, just because the student is not mobile, that doesn't mean that they don't need O&M, because you can help. I mean, I could help, in a classroom, how to arrange the furniture so that will promote, or easier for the student to understand. My desk is here across on this side, is there a play area across over here, like to have a way that they can understand, to map that classroom. And even if you have to, like, guide them or push them in the chair, that you do it. Okay, no, here, no, which way we're going to go? You want to go play? Which way we're going to go on this side of that? Oh, we're going to turn to this side and then we'll go to play. I mean, even like the setting that what you're eating, when you have your plate and everything. Okay, in front we have the potatoes, and then back here we have the carrots. Describe what you have on each side of the plate that you're learning. Front, back, left, right. I mean, it's just like, I could go on and keep you here until 6 o'clock.
Your passion for the field is evident, and your passion for the students is very clear. So it's really good to have you join us and to share that passion and the ideas and the videos. I always like videos just because then it really provides an idea of what it looks like, how to do it, how I think about replicating, what you're doing. So I really, really appreciate that. So we're at 2:45, and I know that you've taken the time out of your day to join us for a couple hours. We're getting thank yous in the chat. Thank you so much, Carolina, for being willing to come and share your practice. You started at the beginning of your presentation like you're just a teacher, but I think teachers, you're a lifelong learner, because you said you're still learning. And I think that's a really good model for us to continue learning and growing. I didn't retire, but I switched to this position after teaching 30 years, and there's always something to learn. So I agree with you in that regard. So thank you. It was a wonderful presentation, wonderful examples, and we really appreciate you coming and joining us.
Yes, well, and like I was telling you, and it's like when you told me, you're in Minnesota, this and that, I'm like, oh, I'm ready to go. I want to go there, and actually do it like hands-on, that we could do stuff like, like I can see the people, we can see the comments, we can talk more about it. Like, oh, I have this student, this and that, and like have that conversation. I mean, there's so many of you there that I really miss like seeing your expression or not, but like I have 100 more videos that we maybe one day we could just sit there and look at videos. I mean, like all this like presentation, the PowerPoint and blah blah blah. I mean, like we could do like just a session with videos.
Yeah, I think you're right, and I think people enjoy that. But it's also a good reminder for us to collect videos of ourselves and share with each other too. So thank you again. So I'm going to switch and just let people know how we're going to wrap it up. You're welcome to stay, or if you'd like to pop off, It's up to you, Carolina.
Okay, well, I want to thank you guys,
Sure.
you know, for hanging in there with me. And like I said, you know where I live and where I'm from. So you can contact me anytime, Anne. And if we want to do a second part, like just the video extravaganza.
Yeah, yeah. And you have your contact information at the bottom of your PowerPoint, I believe. Is that correct?
I'm not sure if I wrote it down,
Okay, I'll
but
double
you
check.
can send my email. I
Okay.
mean,
Thank thank you so much, Carolina.
okay, bye guys.
Bye-bye. All right, so I'm gonna let the interpreter switch while I pull up my PowerPoint here, so we can see where we're